My name is Brooke Anderson. For years, I thought I had the perfect life, a loving husband, two beautiful children, and a home filled with warmth. My life was exactly how I imagined it should be. On the surface, it seemed flawless. David, my husband, was my rock, my partner in every sense. Our two kids, Lily and Noah, brought laughter and light into our home. I had everything I thought I needed. And yet, beneath the surface, there were cracks in the foundation that no one could see. I can't even pinpoint when it started, but over time, I found myself yearning for something that was missing, something I couldn't quite name. I loved David, and I loved my family. But something inside me began to change. I didn't know what was happening to me, only that I felt a strange emptiness that I didn't know how to fill. That emptiness led to a mistake I would regret for the rest of my life. It all started on my parents' 30th wedding anniversary party. My mother had been planning the event for months. It was supposed to be the celebration of a lifetime, a reflection of their love and the family they had built over 3 decades. I was excited about the party, and so was everyone else. My father, the steady and quiet man he was, had always been there for our family, providing stability and calm. And my mother, always the life of the party, was the one who kept everything bright and alive. The party was set to be grand. The house was filled with family, laughter, and joy. The air smelled of fresh roses and vanilla cake. Everyone was gathered, enjoying the moment, sharing memories, and celebrating the love my parents had built. I was happy, in the moment, feeling the warmth of my family's love around me. But there was something wrong, something that gnawed at me. David and I arrived with our children, Lily and Noah. The moment we stepped into my parents' house, everything felt off. At first, I thought it was the pressure of hosting such a big event. But as I scanned the room, I couldn't ignore how my daughter, Lily, was acting. Lily, who was always the bright spark of our family, wasn't herself. She was sitting alone in the corner, her face devoid of its usual enthusiasm. I tried to ignore it. After all, she was a teenager, and teenagers go through phases. But something in my gut told me this wasn't just a phase. David and I did what we needed to do, we talked to family, mingled, and helped my parents with the preparations. But my eyes kept returning to Lily. She wasn't talking to anyone. She didn't smile. My daughter, usually so full of life, seemed distant, cold even. I told myself to relax. It was just a party. She was probably tired. But deep down, I felt something wasn't right. As the evening went on, I couldn't help but watch her. She barely interacted with anyone. I tried to approach her, asking if she was okay, but she shrugged me off, her attention glued to her phone. I let it go, not wanting to make a scene at my parents' anniversary celebration, but my concern kept growing. Then, just as the evening was winding down and my parents prepared to cut the cake, it happened. Lily stood up, her chair scraping against the floor, and walked straight toward me. My heart raced. Something was different in her stride. She wasn't walking like my daughter anymore. Her expression was cold, almost hardened, and when she looked at me, I felt a chill run through my entire body. I didn't know why, but I knew something had changed. She wasn't the Lily I knew. And that frightened me. "Mom," she said, her voice cutting through the murmur of voices in the room. "I need you to leave. Right now." The words hung in the air. I froze. My breath caught in my chest. The room seemed to still. Everyone turned to look. My heart was pounding in my ears, and for a moment, I thought I had misunderstood. I laughed, nervously trying to dismiss it. "Lily, what are you talking about? This is a celebration. You can't be serious." But Lily's face didn't soften. She didn't smile. Her eyes were fixed on me with a coldness that cut through me like a knife. "I know what you've been doing, Mom. And I can't stand to be around you anymore," she said, her voice louder now, steady, almost accusatory. I stood frozen. The laughter and chatter around us faded away as her words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. My hands trembled at my sides. "Lily. What do you mean?" I asked, feeling the panic rising in my throat. Her gaze remained unwavering. I found the messages. The texts. The emails. Everything. I know about the affair. My heart sank. The air in the room grew thicker, like I couldn't breathe. How did she know? How could she possibly know? The affair. The thing I had spent so much time trying to hide, trying to bury. It was all out in the open now, laid bare for everyone to see. The room seemed to spin. My mind raced, and for a moment, I thought I might collapse. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to tell her it wasn't true, but I couldn't. The guilt, the shame, flooded me all at once. I had done something terrible, and now my daughter knew. How? How did you find out? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Lily didn't answer right away. She looked at me with such disdain, as if everything she had once loved about me was gone. I went through your things. I saw the messages. The pictures. And I couldn't believe it, she said, her voice trembling with hurt and anger. You've been lying to Dad. To all of us. And you didn't even think about how it would affect us. How it would affect me. My mind was racing. How could she have done that? How could I have allowed it to come to this? She was my daughter, my baby girl. The one I had promised to protect. And now, I had hurt her. I had destroyed her trust in me. I felt like the ground was falling out beneath me. I looked at David, standing by the door, his face pale, his eyes wide with disbelief. He had known something was wrong, but I never thought it would come to this, to my daughter calling me out in front of everyone, exposing the lie I had been living. My heart broke as I saw the look on his face. The hurt. The betrayal. Lily, please, I said, my voice cracking. I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to find out like this. Please, just let me explain. But Lily shook her head, her face hardening. There's nothing to explain, Mom. You've already done enough damage. To Dad, to me, to this whole family. She turned away, her back now to me, and I could feel the coldness between us. Without another word, she walked out of the room. The silence that followed was deafening. My parents, my relatives, everyone in the room was staring at me, waiting for an explanation that I didn't have. I couldn't speak. The words wouldn't come. All I could hear was the sound of my own breath, the pounding of my heart. I had betrayed everyone I loved. I had destroyed my marriage, my family, and my daughter's trust. In that moment, I knew I had lost everything. I left the party shortly after, my mind clouded with shame and guilt. I didn't speak to anyone as I left, not even David. What could I say? How could I explain what I had done? The next few days felt like a blur. I stayed in bed, consumed by the weight of my mistakes. I couldn't face David. I couldn't face Lily. I couldn't face myself. The guilt was suffocating. I thought about what had led me to this point, how I had gotten so lost in my own emptiness that I made choices I could never take back. But in the days that followed, something shifted within me. I realized that I couldn't let this be the end of my story. I couldn't let this mistake define me. I had hurt the people I loved, but I still had a chance to make things right. I started by reaching out to David. It wasn't easy, but I knew I had to face him. I had to confront the consequences of my actions. He was hurt, yes. He was angry, yes. But slowly, through tears and conversations, we began to rebuild. It wasn't quick. It wasn't easy. But we started again, one step at a time. With Lily, it was even harder. She couldn't forgive me right away. She didn't even want to see me. But I knew I had to earn back her trust. I had to prove to her that I wasn't the woman who made that mistake. I wasn't just the person who hurt her. I was still her mother. And I would do anything to prove it. And so, the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. The journey was long. But slowly, we began to heal. I learned that redemption isn't easy. That sometimes, we have to face the worst parts of ourselves to become the people we were meant to be. I don't know what the future holds for me and my family. But I know one thing for sure, I'm not giving up. Not on David. Not on Lily. Not on myself.